Who are you and what do you do?
My name is Kellie Hodge, and I am an AP Statistics teacher, a geometry teacher, and an academy director for hospitality and tourism at Jordan High School in Long Beach, California.
What does critical thinking mean to you?
Well, when I think of critical thinking, it's something that to define, is kind of difficult for me. It's just something I feel like I've always done, and I ask other people to do it. So if I have to stop and think about it, critical thinking to me means that you don't react to something. It's not reactionary. It's not based on emotion. It's kind of purposeful, thoughtful opinion and judgment. So when I'm critical thinking, I'm basing my opinions or my judgments on evidence, observations, past experiences, specific data.
How do you apply critical thinking in your everyday life?
I guess in my everyday life, one example of me using critical thinking day in and day out is that I'm very curious about what's going on in the world. So I read a lot of periodicals like The Economist. I also like to watch the news, BBC News, the presidential debates, things that are going on. And my critical thinking skills kind of let me kind of weed through some of the things that are being presented, maybe just emotionally or maybe not even accurately. So being informed helps you critically think through things that are being presented to you.
If you had poor critical thinking skills, how would it affect your performance in the workplace?
To answer that, I think that to be a teacher, I have to look at my students holistically and make a connection with them. If they don't feel a connection with me or if I don't know them very well, then it's hard for that trust learning to take place. So as a critical thinker, I have to approach things thoughtfully and purposely. And an example of critical thinking that just recently took place is that I was reviewing the grades of all my students in all of their classes, because I'm not just concerned about their math grade, but how they're doing academically. And there was one young man I noticed that he's doing very well in my math class. I have him fourth period, so about halfway through the day, and his fifth and sixth period grades were good. I noticed that first and second he had Fs, 4% and like 12%. So if I did not have critical thinking skills, my approach probably would have been one that had made it defensive. I could have just said, what's going on? Why do you have an F? I can't believe this is happening. Instead, I took the approach of critical thinking and brought him over, had a private discussion with him and asked him about it. And what came to light was that it turns out he is homeless, that his mother and his siblings are moving from home to home, friends and foster family members. And so it just brought to light that this student is going through a lot and needs additional support. It's not that he doesn't want to be successful, but right now, getting to school is the struggle. So now I can approach it, thoughtfully and purposefully, and bring in the community worker who can. There's ways that within the school district we can get students in a situation to school on time to increase their academic opportunity and potential.
How do you follow the standards for critical thinking, such as clarity, precision, and relevancy, as a high school teacher?
Well, an example I have for that is right now I'm actually in the middle of writing a grant to have a computer Chromebook cart in my classroom so that I can utilize technology in my classroom. And so while I'm writing the grant, I need to be very precise in how that's going to tie to standards and tie right with my AP Stat standards and my geometry standards. My writing needs to be very clear, so it's very concise, and the person who's reading my grant can understand completely and fully how and why these carts would support my students. And I also need to just show the relevancy, how we're moving towards 21st century skills. All the information is out there in the world. The position of a teacher is changing as a facilitator. So I need just to make sure that I show the relevancy in my grant, but also make sure it's very clear and precise.